This module is on yoga philosophy. What is yoga? Why do we practice? And what's the history of yoga? This is a rather in-depth topic, but we will touch upon the 5 points of yoga, the 4 paths of yoga, including Hatha and Kundalini yoga, the Yoga Sutras, which includes the ethics, yamas and niyamas, yoga asana, the postures, pranayama, breathing technique, pratyahara, withdrawing the senses, dharana, concentration, dhyana, meditation, and samadhi, superconscious state. We'll also talk about how chair yoga relates to the Yoga Sutras and the philosophy of yoga, and why truly yoga is for everyone. I'll talk most about the base of yoga, the very first yama of the 8 limbs, which is ahimsa, or nonviolence. We'll practice chair yoga videos with some reflection of different yoga and ahimsa videos. In this yoga philosophy, let's start with what is yoga. As the Yoga Sutra says, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the ability to slow or stop the mind stuff. There's different translations on this, but it's basically saying that yoga is about stilling the mind. Since yoga ultimately is about discovering your true self and calming the mind, it's not based on how much yoga postures or practice you can do or your physical ability. This is why we'll learn that truly yoga is for everyone. In this module, we'll also talk about the 5 points of yoga as defined by the Shivananda tradition, which is proper exercise, proper breathing, proper relaxation, proper diet, positive thinking, and meditation. So with healthy eating, and here's a picture of our brain on lots of vegetables, we'll get creative and come up with wonderful ways to adapt yoga so that really everyone can practice. Yoga philosophy. What is yoga? The word yoga comes from the Sanskrit language, meaning to yoke or to join. This joining is talking about the connection with our individual soul and the universal soul, connecting our own inner self individually with the cosmic consciousness of all that exists. That might seem a bit esoteric and hard to grapple, but let's talk a little bit more to help us understand this. Yoga is the connection of our individual self to all that exists in the universe, including every human being, animal, tree, and atom. On a simple level, yoga connects the body, mind, and spirit, often using the breath as a tool to connect those parts. That's what you'll hear a lot from modern-day yoga. But it's truly more than connecting the body, the mind, and the breath, but it's talking about our individual essence, our individual soul, with literally all that exists in the universe. Yoga means to connect, to unite. It's to find the oneness of ourself with all things and our connection to the source. Often the breath is a tool, and so are postures, but truly, yoga is a path to bring us more harmony, connection, and balance. This balance yoga brings unites our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of ourselves. Swami Shivananda, in the book he wrote, Bliss Divine, he was a yogi and a MD. He says that yoga is taking care of the body, mind, and spirit, not seeking after fitness or beauty or health. He says that yoga is finding the cause of our suffering. It shows the way to be free from it. Swami Shivananda also says that yoga is a system of education for the body, the mind, the intellect, and the inner spirit. As you can see, this definition of yoga from the masters is quite extensive. He also says yoga is a way of life. Yoga is more than the postures, as many people think. Swami Shivananda says yoga is universal. It's not sectarian or separate. That means you don't need to be a part of any religion or want to be to practice yoga. He also says yoga helps us to go to the root of our suffering, spiritual ignorance, which is not knowing who you really are. Yoga is so much more than the postures and the physical body, which is why I also have a module with relaxation and meditation techniques, as well as stress reduction techniques, so you can truly experience the broader aspects of yoga. Swami Shivananda says yoga brings individual peace of mind and collective peace. Yoga is unity in diversity. Yoga is self-discipline. Yoga is life. Yoga is simple life. Yoga is moderate life. Yoga helps us to deal with stress. Yoga helps calm emotions. Yoga is a balanced mind, strong and steady. There's 4 main paths to yoga. There might be more in other traditions, but a general theory is that the 4 main paths to yoga include 1. Karma yoga. That's selfless service or volunteer work. Whether you're paid or not, it's offering your gifts to the universe to help humanity. Another path is Bhakti yoga. This is the yoga of devotion. Some yogis will chant and sing, called kirtan, call and response the names of the divine. Raja yoga is another path. Sometimes known as the kingly yoga, it's about learning to control the mind and the emotions to discover the true self. Hatha yoga, which are most of what we'll be learning, including yoga postures, relaxation, breathing, and meditation, is a part of Raja yoga. Another branch is Jnana yoga, the study of sacred text or spiritual wisdom. Chair yoga can be any one of these paths. You can chant, you can volunteer, you can do your postures, and you can study wisdom and philosophy, all within the chair yoga adaptations. We'll talk more later about chair yoga. There are also many lineages and styles of yoga, depending on the guru, the teacher, where it came from. For example, there's Shivananda yoga, Integral yoga, Iyengar yoga from the Krishnamacharya lineage, Kundalini yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan, who brought yoga from Kundalini tradition to the West, Ashtanga yoga as taught by Pattabhi Jois. From that, people have created yoga flow, vinyasa, power yoga, and other styles. Chair yoga can be any one of these. Any lineage of yoga or any path of yoga can simply be adapted using a chair for support for the techniques that require a student to be on the ground. When that's not comfortable, the chair is a substitute, but it really doesn't affect the lineage or style of yoga. Since I'm based in the Shivananda, Kundalini traditions, as well as studying with many masters from other backgrounds, I will base it on my knowledge and what has worked over the 23 plus years teaching and sharing yoga. But you can adapt it to what works for you. Experience is really the best teacher. The Yoga Sutras is a main text that comprises of 8 limbs. From Ashtanga is the word in Sanskrit, but not the Ashtanga yoga style you may hear of when you take class. These 8 limbs include yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Those are the ethics: asana, posture; pranayama, breath work; pratyahara, withdrawing senses; dharana, concentration; dhyana, meditation; and samadhi, superconscious state. The 8 limbs, or Ashtanga in Sanskrit, are known as 8 limbs from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The first of the limbs is yama, the ethics, such as the don'ts. That includes ahimsa, do not harm, which includes the animals. I'll show you at the end of this a short video about ahimsa and a practice video. Satyam, truthfulness. Truthfulness is important even when we're practicing postures or teaching. Are we being truthful that the posture is really comfortable and helpful? Sometimes our subconscious and consciousness is not always in alignment, which is why we do the yogic techniques, to be in more truth and live in our inner truth. Another of the yamas is brahmacharya, or moderation, controlling the senses. Celibacy is where some of the monks take this yama, but in the modern age, for the householder, it could be controlling senses or moderation. Other yamas are asteya, non-stealing. The 8 limbs from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras have another limb, the second one, called niyama, or the dues, such as purity, sausha, internal and external cleanliness; santosha, contentment; tapas, austerity, which could be your yoga practice; svadhyaya, study of the self; and the last one, surrender to the divine. This means our yoga practice can be all the time, not just in class or when we do poses. The one people are most familiar with, number 3, the asana, the postures, and then number 4, pranayama, regulation or control of breath. Pratyahara is withdrawing the senses to still the mind. Dharana is concentration, and dhyana is meditation or absorption in the object of concentration. And samadhi is the superconscious state when oneness is experienced. Think of the 8 limbs like a ladder. You can go up and down. It's not that you have to master one limb and move on to the next. In a chair yoga class or in any yoga class, you may be practicing a few of the limbs at the same time, such as concentration during the yoga posture, while you're regulating the breath, even if it's not a specific pranayama technique. Although in Kundalini Yoga, they do combine pranayama techniques with yoga asana and even a hand mudra. So as you see, these limbs can be practiced not just in philosophy, but in a class as well, several limbs at the same time. And to point out again, Hatha Yoga is basically the branches of asana, yoga posture, and pranayama, regulation of breath. These two together from the Raja Yoga path are known as Hatha Yoga. In Sanskrit, that means sun and moon yoga, often symbolizing balance. About what is Hatha Yoga. In Sanskrit, Ha means sun and Ta means moon. This is symbolic for the pairs of opposites. When we're doing yoga asana, the yoga postures from Hatha Yoga, we're looking for balance. The way we work, using the body, mind, and breath, can restore harmony and equanimity and a feeling of balance. So where do we start if someone can't practice yoga asana, as you see in some of these photos, on the ground? You start right where you are. If you have a disease, an ailment, or a condition, including pregnancy or being stuck at the office and can't lie down on the ground or your stomach, or do standing postures like some of the traditional yoga asana, you can start right where you are. Even a 1, 3, or 5-minute yoga break can be helpful. This will give you energy, even if you have physical or time limitations. That may be all you have to do, 5 minutes, but it can still help. They have to work within their own limitations and comfort level, whether it's a 5-minute practice, a 30-minute, or a 60-minute class, but they can still receive benefit. Yoga asana is one of the practices of Hatha Yoga, which is the yoga posture, but it's a posture done in a meditative way. It's not just a physical movement. In fact, the Yoga Sutras, Sutra 2.46, says in Sanskrit, Sthira Sukham Asanam, which means that yoga postures is that which is firm and relaxed. Or another way to translate it, instead of firm and relaxed, is yoga posture is a pose that is steady and easeful, or steady and comfortable. There's another yogic text from the 17th century that says there are many postures as species. Altogether, they say, there are as many yoga asana as there are species of living beings. Shiva has taught 8,400,000. Of these, 84 are preeminent, of which 32 are useful in the world of mortals. That's an old text, but it's showing you that there's quite a bit of postures to choose from, including different animal shapes, different things in nature that we copy, as well as different heroes. And there's so many options. So we can make yoga accessible to everyone, even adapting the traditional postures. So how do you master asana? One of the sutras says that in Sanskrit, which translates to in English, that you've mastered the yoga posture if you are comfortable and your mind is meditating on the infinite. When that practice is done for a long time, without a break, with sincere devotion, then the practice becomes a firmly rooted, stable, and solid foundation. This is a yoga sutra that is basically saying, and I've heard other translations saying, that if you practice with consistency, enthusiasm, and devotion, you will eventually master yoga asana. Yogic lifestyle all contributes to how you do your postures. Using the 5 principles mentioned before, proper exercise, proper breathing, proper relaxation, and proper diet, in yogic tradition it's vegan or vegetarian, as well as positive thinking and meditation for a holistic yogic lifestyle, for inner peace, outer health, and harmony with ourselves, the animals, and the earth. Yoga can contribute to a life of more simplicity, peace, and greater harmony. How we think, how we eat, how we breathe, how we relax, all affects our yoga posture practice. So keep that in mind when teaching and practicing as well. As I have a saying here, eat more plants and do more yoga. You'll probably feel much better. Yoga is a preventative healing tool as well. There's one more sutra I'd like to conclude this philosophy module with. That sutra states, the translation would be, the misery which is not yet to come is to be avoided. What that is saying is yoga is basically a preventative healing modality. In modern medicine, they call it preventative or lifestyle medicine. Now that you have this brief overview of yoga philosophy, you can enjoy all of the practice videos with a little more understanding of what is behind the yogic exercises, breathing, and relaxation. Enjoy your practices. Have a great day. Namaste.